Excited about that idea.
A little while ago, I was in my work in the back cleaning some dishes. Now, my boss had a birthday party, so his entire family was there. While I was in the back, my boss's daughter came, and she asked me if she could help me. So I gave her a job of putting dishes away. Not only that, but then a little while after, my boss's niece also came back, and she offered to help me too. So I gave her a broom, and she swept up the entire back room of my store. Now, these little girls were only 9 years old and probably younger, and so their willingness to serve absolutely amazed me. Now, my boss wasn't too happy that I had his daughter and niece cleaning and doing my job for me, but still, these girls had service hearts that felt absolutely phenomenal. Instead of eating cake like everyone else, they decided, you know what, let's go out and serve someone. And us Christians should follow their example in the exact same way. Let's look at John 13:35 real quick. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. This act of service that Jesus did is a great example for all of us as followers. But the part that always gets me is the part that said, Jesus the Father knew that Father had put all things under his power. Jesus knew that he did not have to literally wash his disciples' feet, but he did it anyway. Why? To set an example for us to follow. The greatest ministry a person can ever do is by serving others. Jesus' brother James put it like this in James 2:18. But some will say, you have faith, I have deeds. Show me your faith without deeds, and I'll show you my faith by what I do. The best way we can show our faith to others is by serving others. And it even says later in the Bible that faith without deeds is dead. So the reason we need a servant's heart is because in order to keep our faith alive and our faith shown. Now, since we covered why we need a servant's heart, how in the world do we get one? This question is not as easy as it seems. Somebody can serve another and still not have a servant's heart, because it's all a person's motives. A great quote from A.T. Pierce's book, The Truth, says this: the supreme test of service is this: for whom am I doing this? Much of we call service to Christ is not such at all. If we are doing this for Christ, we shall not care for human reward or even recognition. This is true. Having a servant's heart includes not only the acts of service that we are doing, but the motives behind why we are doing it. In fact, there's even a story of King Amaziah in the Bible, where he was doing all the right stuff for God, but he still lost God's favor because he was doing what was wrong motives. In 1 Samuel 16:7, the Lord does not look at the things man looks at. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. A servant's heart is gained and lost in a person's motives. And that is the reason why we must be extremely careful on what our motives are. And if you look and you find out that your motives aren't straight, do two things to fix it. Pray to God to make the changing process a whole lot easier for you, and then change your way of thought. The first one's easy. Anyone can pray to God. The second one's a little bit tougher, but it can be done. And the moment you get your motives straight, and you start doing acts of service, is the moment you gain a servant's heart. Now it is time to step out and actually do something about it. Everywhere you go, God wants you to have and use your servant's heart. But too often we are too self-centered to actually go out and use it. But what can be expected of us? We live in an extremely self-centered society. As the youth pastor of Hillsongs United put it, I got my iPod, which can download songs from my iTunes, which you get from my MySpace. Everywhere you look, all you see is me, myself, and I. People who think that they don't have to serve others. Now, look at Jesus Christ. See, Jesus Christ, he knew that all things were placed under his power. And he knew the most powerful person on earth. But still, he got down and washed his feet. We should be down and washing his feet, and he did it. Because Jesus knew that everyone is entitled to serve other people. And now I challenge each one of you that everywhere you go, whether it be home, school, or work, to bring a whole new meaning to the saying, you just got served.